Everybody be cool, this is a robbery! Any of you fucking pricks move! And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Welcome aboard, Amazing. It's a pleasure to speak to you about this book, in itself an amazing book. Now we can say it. How long you use that name, Amazing?
My first name is Améziane, and I like the phonetic joke. So Amazing Améziane is something that make me laugh. And I'm also from Algeria by my origin, and the tribe I'm part of is Amazigh. So Amazigh is very close, and I like to play with words with. So, and also the real reason is in 2013 I made a book called Bagman with a crime story. 180 pages in 6 months, where I wrote all of it, draw all of it, did the color, the letters, and the design of the book in 6 months, and I thought about it later. I say
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Why not?
I like,
okay.
I like the quote from Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
Fake it until you make it. So I will tell to everybody I'm amazing until they believe it.
Yeah, and use that sentence on the book also.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the book.
Okay.
How far is this book a fiction book?
Which one?
Quentin by Tarantino.
Not much.
Yeah.
Because I like to be close to my subject, so I listen. I don't read. I read obviously the books, but I want to have the truth from the mouth of Quentin Tarantino, because there's so much rumor and so much things people said on him. You never know the truth except if it said it. So I only used interview from him and copy and paste and cut 70% of what is wrote in the dialogue are from his mouth. And the 30% I'm my retro engineering to create the fictional character of Quentin Tarantino, who is real. So I try to speak like him. I try to understand the vernacular. I try to understand the way he speaks, the way he
thinks.
Tells. Yeah, the way
his sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly. And the way he tells the same thing over and over, like in his movies. Repetition is really something in the core of his work, and it's something that is verboten in literature. You don't tell the same thing twice. Most of my copy-proof editor tell me all the time, but you said it, and I said to her, but Quentin Tarantino repeat itself. It's his style. It's the core of his art. Many of the scenes are repetition of the same character saying the same thing. Jules in Pulp Fiction said the same things to the flock of eagles. How does look Marcellus Wallace?
Yeah,
is it a beach? Does it look like a beach? Does it look like a beach? And it's said many times. So I did the same way.
It's one of the strongest tools that Tarantino uses in his writings. The session in which our conversation is included also involves a new edition, a new Portuguese edition of the Citizen Kane script. And right at the beginning of your book, Tarantino gives precisely this example in his way of moving back and forth in the narrative. How do you think Orson Wells was important to Tarantino?
I think Tarantino looked at every trailblazer in cinema. He looked at everyone that didn't see a door as a door, but to see the men that go through the wall, that go through the window, that go through the roof. He looked at everyone that didn't do the things the way people expected. So Wells is less important than for someone like Martin Scorsese, but it's very important because it's in the core of many of the maverick directors. And Quentin Tarantino wanted to do his first movie the youngest he could be. He did it at 29, if I remember correctly. Orson Welles did it at 25. And 25 was forever the number to beat. Mm-hmm. And very few did it. So it was a mix of many things.
Okay. But also in I was talking about Citizen Kane, most of all because of the way of going backwards and forward in time. It's almost the same trick. But also in Citizen Kane, there is a secret rosebud. Just like the suitcase, which appears in Pulp Fiction. As Tarantino himself agrees, there has been so much speculation about this suitcase.
Yeah. And that's why in my book, I try to give the closest to an answer that could be found for the reader. It's what is golden, what's glow, and what's important for Tarantino. He won the Palme d'Or and the Oscar for the best screenplay the same year. And he won the Oscar the day of his 32 years old. So for him, what's glowing in the suitcase is that. For his second movie, he won 2 of the best recognized awards for his second movie. And that's somewhat the level he was, and he never go under. He's always rise at that level.
But on Citizen Kane, we discover at the end what is Rosebud. With Tarantino, nobody knows what's inside the suitcase.
No. But he wants to. It's like the movie with from Robert Aldrich, where there's a suitcase, and when you open, people melt. The theft is from that movie, because and in this case we never know what's inside. And in Repo Man, also from Brian Cox, that there's a trunk of the car, and then somewhat alien gizmo, something that melts people too. So it's all. I believe it's Kiss Me Deadly, the movies, and that's the direct theft. I will say theft because he didn't do homage. He cut past and did it this way. But
it's almost like in the FBI rules. If I tell you, I'm going to kill you, I have to kill you after.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Picasso said, the nice people borrow, but the genius steal.
Yeah. You grew up with Sergio Leone movies, Bruce Lee movies. You wrote books. You yourself wrote books about Muhammad Ali and Angela Davis. There are several points of contact with Tarantino's universe, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I like American black culture so much.
Yes, Tarantino?
Yeah. I realized very early on that the 70s were my favorite area. And particularly the black culture was always fascinating to me. And I like the soul music so much. That's the music of my own soul. I keep listening to the record for 30 years. and I like the movies from that period. I like the actor. I like all that, like Tarantino. So it was a nice fit for me to play the love of that area for Tarantino, because I understand it, and it was so easy to make it roll for the book, and to share the love we have, him and I, for that period.
Mm-hmm. You have another book translated here in Portugal, a version of 1984 you made with Cyril Tita de la Croix.
Yeah.
Both books look like they were made by someone who loves the world of advertising, with images using a complete page, big letters like in a poster, and things like that. Are you connected to that world, advertising world?
Yeah. That's my formative years. I went to an advertising school where my parents were agree for me to be a comic book artist, but they said to me, first, you have to have a job that pays the rent. So I went to an advertising school where I learned every technological part of the art.
Yes.
And then the first year my daddy died, so I work a lot. And then later, almost 10 years later, for 10 years, I did illustration for magazine, but also I did graphic design and art director for a rap hip-hop magazine at the time, the only hip-hop magazine in France for many years. And then I was fed up for all that, and I decided to start my comic book career and I do that for 22 years now.
And besides of that, you connect very well your style with the subject and the atmosphere along the book. You change your own style and the language, the visual language along the book, connecting with the atmosphere of the subject.
Yes, because also I'm a fervent adept of the church of Bill Sienkiewicz, who can do whatever he wants.
I haven't understood. I haven't understood, sorry.
Bill Sienkiewicz, the artist of Electra Assassin, with Frank Miller. He did Stratosphere and many things, and he changed styles all the time. In Electra Assassin, he had maybe 20 styles in the first issue. In 22 pages, he changed the style maybe 13 times. Cut and paste paper, acrylic, pencil, color pencil, oil. He pastes real objects on the pages. And when I saw that, my brain fried for a bit. I read the two first issue of the book, and my brain fried. And I read them for 1 year. And at the end, I decided to read it in full. And when I read it in full, I say, that's what I want to do when I grow up. I want to do that. I want to do comics, but I want to be free to change style, to do whatever I want. And I'm not doing mainstream superhero.
And I think that became your own style.
Yeah. That's my style now.
Yeah. I just loved 1984, and when I saw this one, it's the same guy. You know.
Yeah, of course.
We understand immediately. In the book, you remind us of a fantastic story when Jon Stewart asks Tarantino if he had to bribe someone to have a role in Reservoir Dogs, and he says yes. I masturbated the director for 20 years. In Day by Day, Tarantino is the... Did you know Tarantino?
No.
You never was with him?
No, because it's never a good... First, it's never a good idea to make your hero. Because imagine you get in on a bad day, and it's the meeting is awful. You hate him, and you really ruin all the things, all the work you love so much. So I need to do the book on my side, alone. I do my homework. At the end, if I have the opportunity to show him or give him for him to read, that's okay. If I know one day he will read it, that's all for me. I don't need to meet him. I don't need to anything. I worked with my favorite writer, Paco Ignacio Taibodos. I did Cuatro Manos until the publisher went broke down. But it was marvelous to meet my hero. But it's very tricky. No, I don't want. I did it once. I don't
it's
want.
dangerous. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm journalist. I make journalism for 3 decades, so I understand completely what are you talking about. Revenge, punishment, redemption are concepts we can easily find in Tarantino's movies. How narrow is the road, in your opinion, where the personal life and the feelings of the director walk in line with the characters and the incidents that Tarantino provocates?
They are very, very close because he's always.
I think so.
He's always. The first example is True Romance. True Romance is purely and simply Clarence Worley is Quentin Tarantino at the time, except his friend never pay him a hooker, an escort for his birthday because they didn't have money. But he worked in the video archive, not a comic shop, and he went to this marathon of Street Fighter. He never meet a girl there. He only meet girls way later when he was more successful in the movie business. He tell himself it was very harsh, very hard for him for a long time. But now he puts everything in his movies, even it's Kill Bill, even when it's a woman, the principal character. He makes everything very personal, but he never gives us the key. And when you saw the breadcrumbs, one example is a stepfather, Curtis, drove a Volkswagen. It's exactly the same model that drove the bride in Kill Bill 2 at the end, in which Uma Thurman had her accident, and exactly the same model that Cliff Booth drives when he's in LA and making a long ride. And everybody said those road sorry, I can't find them. Those road trips are too long in the movie. But for him, it was remembering the time he was with his stepdad, and it was so fun to see recreate his memories when he was a child. So it's very intricate, but we never know, because he never invite us to know which part is very very close. But his family and friends know everything when they see the movie. They say, "Oh, you said that."
That's why in your book you speak about the underlying text.
Yeah. I try the one which is
the importance of the underlying text.
Yeah. I try to give every time in the podcast, because I did my the advantage of comics, and you can print it very close to the day you end it. So I had the chance to listen podcast when he did the promotion of the first book, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the novelization. And during this podcast, those podcasts, he made around 10 podcasts. He said many things he never said before. So at the time, 2 years ago, when I made my book in French, it was the most accurate and the most new in the time of the information for a book about Tarantino. And that's the advantage of the comics, because I finished the book in early July, and in August it was printed. So it was very close, and I had many information that nobody knew. Even the hardcore fan never knew that he wrote Hans Landa, Nazi Detective, and things like that.
That's why it's so wonderful to read this book.
Yeah.
Amazing. Last question.
Yeah.
The next movie, the number 10
Yeah.
on Tarantino's filmography.
Yeah.
He said it will be the last one. He never lies, as he says. He never lies.
In the podcast, he said 10 or 11, and the host almost jumped at his throat. He said 11, and he said, yes, if the 10th is bad, I go to 11. I will never finish on the dot. So now the pressure for him is beyond records, and I thought he would wait 10 years to make it sure to have a big movie.
But he knows he has an whole world looking to him.
Yeah. But for him, the last movie was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. For him, his magnum opus was this one. Everything he needed to say on cinema was this one. Now, for him, it's at this term, it's an epilogue. It's the nice way to close the round, to close the show. But his career is not finished. He had many theater adaptations.
I was asking also because first he announced one called The Movie Critic.
Yeah.
And in April this year, he said, no, Movie Critic will not happen. I don't know what will happen, but this project is over. And he jumped up even more the attention about him.
Yeah, but because everyone want to be every actor in town.
Yeah.
Even the A list. I'm talking about Tom Cruise and things like that. Everyone wants to be in a movie. So
and what about Bruce Willis? There's a rumor that it could be the last work for Bruce.
He's too sick now. I don't believe it's possible. Instead, if Tarantino had filmed some sequence 1 year or 2 years prior, he can edit it. But now, he don't talk. At the news I saw, Bruce Willis can't even talk anymore.
It's been too much even for Tarantino.
Yeah, it could be a silent role. It could be anything. I remember I believe it's in Lost Highway, we have a garagist, and it was played by Richard Pryor, that was burned in a wheelchair, but he appears because David Lynch loved Pryor so much. So everything is possible. Everyone and her and him can be in his movie. Everyone wants to be, and it's the last time. So now everyone, and if he had to add a very huge actor or actress, he had to compose with her time and timing. Okay. So maybe it's the one reason, or maybe he didn't like what he wrote.
The credits list is the $1 million question nowadays.
Yeah. Nobody knows. And half of us hope that it will be a Kill Bill 3 because 3 and 4, because now the movie critic can't be done. So maybe, but I will take anything. I will take the sexual life of.
Let's wait and see. Let's wait.
I'll take everything.
Amazing. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
Me too.
Thank you very much for this book. It's a great book. And I want to see another one works of you from you. Very great.
I just finished Sergio Leone.
Okay. We'll wait to see it. Thank you very much once again. Oh. Wow.
And the credit is look like in the movie.
Yeah, you adapt your language along the book. Yeah. That's great. Okay.
Take care.
Thanks a lot once again. See you soon.
Thank you for inviting me. Bye.